ever heard of the Mughal Empire? For over 300 years, this dynasty shaped the Indian subcontinent, leaving behind a legacy of stunning architecture, rich culture, and epic stories of power, betrayal, and glory. Today, we're going on a journey through time to meet every single Mughal emperor, from the legendary founder to the very last one. Let's dive into the complete saga of one of history's most fascinating empires. Our story begins in 1526 with Zahir ad-Din Muhammad, better known as Baba. Descended from both Timur and Genghis Khan, Babur was a brilliant military strategist and a gifted poet. After being driven from his ancestral home in Central Asia, he set his sights on India. At the First Battle of Panipat, using innovative tactics like cannons and matchlock guns, his smaller army defeated the massive forces of the Delhi Sultanate. With this victory, Babur laid the foundation of the Mughal Empire. His reign was short, just 4 years, but his memoirs, the Baburnama, give us an incredible personal glimpse into his life and conquests. After Babur's death in 1530, his son, Humayun, took the throne. Humayun's name means the fortunate, but his early reign was anything but. He faced constant rebellions and was eventually overthrown by the Afghan leader Sher Shah Suri in 1540. For 15 long years, Humayun lived in exile, wandering through Persia and Afghanistan. But he never gave up. With the help of the Persian Safavid dynasty, he finally managed to reclaim his throne in 1555. Tragically, just a year later, he died after a fall down his library's stairs. Humayun's life was a roller coaster of loss and return, setting the stage for his son, who would become the empire's greatest ruler. That son was Akbar, who ascended the throne in 1556 at the tender age of 13. Under the guidance of his regent Bairam Khan, he secured his power and then went on to become Akbar the Great. His nearly 50-year reign was a golden age. Akbar was a military genius, expanding the empire to include almost the entire Indian subcontinent. But his true greatness lay in his administration and his policies of religious tolerance. He created a centralized government, reformed the tax system, and actively promoted dialogue between different faiths. He established the Din Ilahi, a syncretic religion intended to merge the best elements of the religions in his empire. Akbar was a true architect, building not just with stone, but with ideas that shaped an empire. Following Akbar's death in 1605, his son Salim ascended the throne, taking the title Jahangir, which means conqueror of the world. While not the military mastermind his father was, Jahangir was a great patron of the arts, particularly painting. Mughal miniature painting reached its zenith under his reign, known for its incredible detail and realism. Jahangir was also a lover of nature, and his memoirs contain detailed descriptions of the flora and fauna he encountered. However, his reign was heavily influenced by his powerful and intelligent wife, Nur Jahan, who effectively ruled the empire behind the scenes, especially during Jahangir's later years when his health declined due to addiction. Next in line was Jahangir's son, Prince Khurram, who became Emperor Shah Jahan in 1628. If you know one thing about the Mughals, it's probably the Taj Mahal, and Shah Jahan is the man behind it. His reign is often called the Golden Age of Mughal architecture. He commissioned not just the Taj Mahal mausoleum for his beloved wife, Mumtaz Mahal, but also the Red Fort in Delhi, and the stunning Peacock Throne. The empire was at its peak of prosperity, and the court was a spectacle of unparalleled luxury. But this opulence came at a cost, and his later reign was marred by a brutal war of succession between his sons. The winner of that bloody conflict was Aurangzeb, who seized power in 1658 after imprisoning his father, Shah Jahan, and eliminating his brothers. Aurangzeb was a devout and orthodox Muslim, and his policies marked a sharp turn from the religious tolerance of his predecessors. He expanded the empire to its greatest territorial extent, but his constant warfare, especially in the Deccan, drained the treasury. His long and controversial reign of nearly 50 years saw the empire reach its physical peak, but also sowed the seeds of its decline. After his death in 1707, the powerful Mughal Empire began to unravel. The period after Aurangzeb is often called the era of the later Mughals. His son, Bahadur Shah I took the throne at the age of 63. He tried to reverse some of Aurangzeb's harsher policies, but ruled for only 5 years before his death in 1712. What followed was a rapid succession of weak emperors and intense political infighting. Jahandar Shah ruled for less than a year, a puppet of the powerful noble Zulfikar Khan, before being overthrown by his nephew. Farrukhsiyah's reign from 1713 to 1719 was entirely controlled by the powerful Syed brothers, who became known as the Kingmakers. They placed him on the throne, and, when he tried to assert his independence, they had him blinded and killed. This was a dark time for the dynasty, as the emperor's authority crumbled completely. The Syed brothers then placed 2 more short-lived puppet emperors on the throne in 1719. Rafi, Udarahat and Shah Jahan II, both of whom died from illness within months. The throne was a revolving door, and real power lay with the court nobles. Stability of a sort returned with Muhammad Shah, who reigned from 1719 to 1748. Known as Rangila, or Le Colorful, for his love of pleasure in the arts. His long reign saw a cultural revival, especially in music and poetry. However, he was an ineffectual ruler. The empire continued to fracture, with provincial governors becoming de facto independent rulers. The biggest blow came in 1739, when the Persian king, Nader Shah, invaded, sacked Delhi, and carried away immense treasures, including the fabled Peacock Throne. This event was a catastrophic humiliation from which the empire never truly recovered. The decline accelerated under the subsequent emperor, Ahmad Shah Bahadur, who ruled from 1748 to 1754, was unable to halt the growing influence of court factions and the rising power of the Marathas. He was eventually deposed and blinded. His successor, Alamgir II, was merely a nominal emperor, with all real power held by his ministers. His reign ended in his assassination in 1759. For a brief period, another puppet, Shahjahan III, was placed on the throne. Then came Shah Alam II, whose long reign from 1760 to 1806 was a tragic testament to the empire's decay. For much of his rule, he was a wanderer, a king without a capital or a kingdom. He was a pawn in the power struggles between the Marathas, the Afghans, and the increasingly powerful British East India Company. In a particularly cruel episode, he was blinded by an Afghan chief. Eventually, he was restored to the throne in Delhi, but as a pensioner of the British. The Mughal emperor was now a ruler in name only. His son, Akbar Shah II, reigned from 1806 to 1837, living entirely under British protection within the confines of the Red Fort. He was the first Mughal emperor who was not, in any real sense, a sovereign. He tried to assert his status, but the British hold on India was now absolute. The coins were no longer minted in his name, and his authority didn't extend beyond his palace walls. The final chapter of the Mughal story belongs to Bahadur Shah II, better known by his poetic pen name, Zafar. He ascended the throne in 1837. As a frail old man, a gifted poet who presided over a magnificent court culture in Delhi, but had no political power. He was a symbol of a bygone era. Then, in 1857, the Indian Rebellion broke out. The sepoys proclaimed him their leader, making him the reluctant figurehead of the uprising. When the British crushed the revolt, they put Zafar on trial for treason. The Mughal Empire was formally abolished. Bahadur Shah Zafar, the last Mughal emperor, was exiled to Rangoon in Burma, where he died in obscurity in 1862, bringing a 331-year-old dynasty to a quiet and somber end. From the conquering ambition of Babur to the tragic exile of Zafar. The story of the Mughal emperors is a powerful epic of rise, glory, and fall. Their legacy endures in the monuments they built, the art they patronized, and the complex history they left behind. Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey through the history of the Mughal Empire. If you found this fascinating, please hit that like button. Subscribe for more deep dives into history, and share your thoughts in the comments below. See you in the next video.